would also like to mention Madam President of the Richmond City Council, representing the 9th District Councilwoman Michelle Mosby. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you all of the organizations that are joining us here tonight. Again, the only way we can make changes is we have to be a part of the change. Are we learning anything? Are we getting closer? Are we doing something? Or if you don't have that question answered quite the way you want it, just write it down, okay? So we can go ahead and get it answered now. We have the Richmond Police Department here, we have Internal Affairs here, and I'm going to go on to the next question. We want all of the responses down to about 2 minutes, and if we have time left, we want to do a follow-up. Okay, hold on 1 second.
You said that if I'm a black woman and I want to, I guess, ask to be someone that's diverse in the department, if it's a situation and you're getting ready to arrest me, I can't be like, hey, hold on, don't arrest me, I'm a black woman, don't arrest me. You know what I'm saying? So, that doesn't really answer, I guess, the question from my standpoint. If I feel threatened and I don't feel like you're understanding me, to kind of put it in an example, like black people, we just animated. And I'm going to keep, y'all keeping it PC, I'm not going to keep it PC. So when we talk, we use our hands, we might be switching and playing kind of thing, and to you, you might feel threatened, but as a black person, this is how I talk. So I might be doing this at the third, and you want to arrest me now because I'm doing this at the third, and I can't say, hey, I want a black woman just to arrest me. I think she should be more understanding of my body language and things. So how do y'all, cultural barriers on my body language and the way that I talk or whatever, and your life experience in life, how do you account for that in an interaction?
I think a lot of that makes sense. All different cultures have all different habits, if you will. If you have a problem with the way you're arrested, I think we go back to what our internal affairs was saying. We really stress the time to complain and or argue about that is not during an arrest. The time to argue and complain about that is after the fact. If you feel you were unjustly arrested, now this is not just Richmond, this is anywhere in the United States. The time to argue with that is in court. And, hold on.
Okay, we're going to move right along. We're going to do a follow-up on that. Okay, actually, hold on. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in the court of law. Okay? Well, police officers are just the transporter.
When they get arrested.
All right? So what's going to happen is we're going to be kind to every person that's here today. We're going to do examples. We're going to do explanations. We're going to do follow-up. I believe in letting everybody get an opportunity or a turn to speak. The longer we talk, somebody else will feel confident about making a comment or a concern or a situation that they pay. Okay? We're going to keep all comments down to 2 minutes. I'm going to pull the questions first from the people who did what they were supposed to do, write the questions, and anything else is left, then we're going to get back to the audience. Are we clear? I just want to make sure we got it. You can't make any changes if we're not together. What is the proper procedure for a traffic stop? We just talked about it. What can the police officer do and what can the police not do if you feel your rights are being violated? And we pretty much answered that, but I wanted to acknowledge this question. Okay. Do I have the right to report the police at a minimal distance? What kind of training, if any, is being provided by your police department? Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Officer Jerome Anzak. I am an instructor here at the Training Academy. I also have trained use of force for the department as well. Right? For traffic stops, best thing to do for the officer and for yourself is to simply keep your hands visible. Alright? There are plenty of videos out there. Right, that show officer-involved shootings. Right, a lot of times, the officers tend to get hurt because they don't ask to see the person's hand. What's going to hurt somebody? The weapon comes from the hand. Alright, so if an officer asks you to put your hands on the steering wheel or show your hands, simply just put them on the steering wheel. Like the officer said before, we're human. Alright, knives, bullets, hurt us just like they would hurt anybody else. Alright, we have family, friends, people that we care about, that we want to make it home to. Every day they leave our house, we don't know if they're coming home. All right? The officer can be as careful as possible out on the street so that we can make it home to our families. It's nothing against you. It's nothing against your telling being out for whatever reason it was over for. All right? We're simply being safe. We train our officers to be as safe as possible so that we can all go home, so that we don't have to put our friends and family through the pain of us not doing so. All right? With that being said as well, we want to make sure that you are safe as well. All right? Any questions on that? Recording. Great. Good. Recording. You guys are allowed to record whenever you like. All right? You guys can record us. We're out in the public. If you're out in the public, we can be recorded at any time. All right? However, if that officer is trying to do some aspect of their job, they can stop you from recording if it's affecting their job. Right? They can ask you to back up. Right? They probably won't tell you to stop recording and I stand right your hand. Right? Because we don't train to do that. We train the officers to ask to back up. So that we have the space that we need to do our job. You as citizens are more than welcome to record us anytime you like. Alright? With that being said as well, allow us to do our job. It's going to be recorded, it's going to be on tape. Right? If we do something wrong, use that tape against us. Alright? Go to IAD, say, this officer did this, and then show them the tape. We will start the investigative process. Sir?
Well, what if the officer specifically requests that the person turn over that evidence and then destroys it?
That would be more of an IAD issue. Alright? I'll let Detective Miller take care of that.
Okay, you said if the officer requested a video and never showed it.
Yes, because there have been instances where across the country, officers that have been recorded have specifically requested that people turn over that evidence and then they have destroyed that evidence, like in the case of Ferguson, so therefore it would have hindered the prosecution of whatever they did wrong.
Okay, well I can't speak specifically to those cases, but I can tell you that if you record an officer and that recording becomes evidence related to the event, it can be requested to be held as evidence. Now, in the event that you believe it is destroyed, it will become an investigation to me, or I can. And at that point, it goes through the process. But just keep that in mind if you're recording, please. If it becomes evidence needed for that investigation, we're going to ask for it. But you can absolutely record it. At a distance that doesn't indicate it.
If that videotape is requested, could the person before rendering that videotape to you also request that they want to make a copy of it?
Most of the time, that wouldn't be a problem as long as we are insured. It would have to be steps that would have to be taken. Like, again, I would like to speak about hypothetical situations because it's difficult to go step by step and exactly do everything that you want to hear.
It's a term you always use called scope. If somebody's recording something, interaction with a police officer, and it's a criminal act or a traffic matter, any of the evidence is in scope. We have to turn that evidence over. If it's evidence that shows a crime, that shows an offense, I can subpoena that evidence. I can't simply take your evidence from you, okay? That's almost a larceny, okay? You destroy evidence, you tamper with evidence. In most cases, that's a felony. Me and some of my coworkers, we're not going to prison over something. I'm not going to prison over something like that. I'm not going to do it. Most of the time, you may be recording me, but I may be recording you. Most of the time, I am recording you. And you will want it that way. You will want it that way because transparency, that's a word I learned from my chief yesterday. I believe in it. I believe in it. I don't want nobody to think I'm hiding from anything. I'm sorry.
I want to get into it. Look, I just want to make sure a lot of the questions that were posed here today were questions for police officers. But what we want to do is, we've heard from the police department, they're going to do follow-ups. We want to hear from the community. Have you had any challenges and issues at a traffic stop or on foot in the city of Richmond? Here? Anyone here that wants to talk about it? Because if there was an issue with a police officer that did something like that to you in a traffic stop, they may need to get retrained. Sir, Mr. Dorsey, you had an issue?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got video evidence of many crimes being carried out against me by the Richmond Police Department and actually also Richmond City government officials as well that are sitting in this room. And the problem is not that it's videotaped. The problem is the cover-up after the video is released. I mean, I just put out a video, that documents a man named Daryl Beasley being killed.
Okay, Mr. Dorsey, what would you like to see changed?
What I would like to see changed, obviously, is I would like just simple enforcement of the law. And I've had many discussions with the new and old chief of police and their underlings, which are...
Wait a minute, hold on, no name calling. No, that's not funny.
Pretty accurate. That's the most accurate.
What would you like to see changed?
Enforcement of the law. Basically,
Okay.
the Constitution of the United States says all power is vested and derived in the people. We the people create the government, and the government is only our servants. Citizens, the way they describe it, means that we're under the jurisdiction of the government. The people create and are the controllers of the government. And what we have, what the police really are, they are only enforcement dogs carrying out orders to
Well, according to the House rules, you can't use any type of profanity or disrespect. Any people that's here. Okay, well, John, thank you so much for your comment. We're going to move right along.
I require compensation for the crimes carried out against me, and I require that the law is upheld.
Okay. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Dorsey. We're going to move right along. Thank you for your comment. I would like to recognize Councilwoman Ellen Robertson here today from the 6th District, Richmond City Council. All right, any other comments from the citizens? Come on, let's talk, let's talk.
I know you asked very specific questions to the citizens. Have they had an issue with an officer? And no one responded but this young man. And I'm a little confused. And what I think is happening, and I may be wrong, there have been some national challenges, Ferguson, New York, so forth and so on. And there's been a national movement by our young people, which is wonderful to see young people get involved in that Black Lives Matter. But the challenge is, should we here in the city begin a conversation based on what's happening in other places? Because right now, I'm not getting a sense that everybody's up in arms about police brutality. Now, if you ask that question late 80s, early 90s, you probably would have a whole different response. But, and I've been a lifelong resident in the city, and they've been one of the more challenging sectors, which has been cleaned up wonderfully, I would say, 113. And I've seen the police really begin to engage, reach out, and do that. So maybe the conversation should be redirected. And maybe we should be having a different conversation, because I think we're trying to put on a shoe that just ain't fitting right now.
One comment I want to make. If we want to prevent a Ferguson or New York City or DC and any other states that have had police brutality, if you will, and the killing of African American or in particular African American men or all citizens, what should we do as a community to prevent that from happening?
So I want to speak because this is not just comment on police brutality and stuff. I see it might be kind of getting directed in that. I'm really sorry if that's what's going on, but this is any way that the people in Richmond, the police, Richmond police can be more effective. And that's anyway, not just police brutality, that's just the way they interact, the way that they're working to build community with the community. Your experience may be different from somebody's experience when it comes down to age, when it comes down to what is gender, whatever the situation may be. Your experience experiences may be different than those of other people. So it's not just about police brutality. I understand what you're saying about things that are going on. But this just brings down the question, are the police knowing, are the police really serving the people?
Okay, all right, okay, what citizen would like to respond to that? Are the police in the city of Richmond, we're talking city of Richmond, are they serving the people? What person from the community? Not a police officer, a person from the community and all of their experiences. Let's go ahead and switch that conversation. My name is Carrie Cox, and I've lived in the city of Richmond for 40 years. And I have seen in the 90s when we had all the killings and stuff going on, the police department got themselves together and they just combated all of that crime that we have. This is 2015. I'm going to tell you something, we have the best department in the world. To not have a Ferguson in Richmond. Because our police, all of our police officers, they work hard every day. They have the children love. You know what, they spend more time communicating with children to teach them that they are not scary people like the people have been telling them long time ago. They have done everything in their power to make sure that we are safe each and every day. They are to protect and serve, and that's what they do each and every day. And for anybody to say that they are not doing their job, they are wrong. You are blind, you can't see. But I'm going to tell you something, the citizens in Richmond, Virginia see what their police department does each and every day. Okay, you have any person? Young man in the back?
Yeah, I'm a press photographer. I have evidence that the police have not filed complaints I filed. I've had the CPS against me. I had my friend murdered in my front yard because the police didn't take a weapon away from a man that had a weapons charge and drug charges, illegal weapons. I've got evidence. I've got a blog I've had up for 10 years. Reba knows about it. I was in her district. I've stood before the city council and explained all this, and everybody just ignored it. So, it's not just a black issue, it's a human issue. The police are human, they make mistakes, and they also don't file reports. I have incident numbers, no reports filed for them. Why? I've got videotape of a man nearly killing children, and it was ignored. He threatened my life and then killed my friend. Police said, we're laughing at him while he's giving me the finger. I've got it on tape. So, it's there. I really need to talk to Internal Affairs, and I talked to the sergeant of the 3rd Precinct, and they told me to go to the 2nd Precinct. I think it was Steve Drew. My friend was murdered 6 years ago, the 15th of February. So this is really, and it was because the police did not listen to a press photographer in his front yard. But yet I stand here and film and get told, well, I can't film in public. So, thank you. I'm definitely going to call you up because yeah, I've got 10 years of evidence.
The point that I want to make is that a lot of people on here are talking about how the police department is all good and great and whatnot. But the thing is, you go on the south, in certain parts of the south side, certain parts of the east end, which would be better represented if this forum was held in the east end of the south side. And you would hear a whole entire different story. Those people are not here because of the fact that this forum is being held at a place where the bus right now is not running to serve this area, and this is a police training camp which already discourages people to come here. If you would have put this like at City Hall, or at the Southside Community Center in Southside Plaza, there would be a much larger turnout, and y'all would be hearing a lot more different stories than what we are hearing in this very room right now. So when we talk about this, we need to stop being myopic about it and start realizing that just because it's not as apparent as it is in other places doesn't mean it's not happening. It's just buried here, like with the conditions going on in the city jail.
Exactly. Thank you.
We need to talk to those police officers. Okay. community conversation. It's a community conversation.
Community conversation. Yes, so it's just wonderful to have you here. Okay, you have a very nice, yeah. I brought two young ladies here tonight, two sisters, 13 and 14. She's giving you a question that she wants answered. But I'm a native of Richmond. I'm a native of Richmond. Lived here really all my life. I don't live in Richmond like now. I drove in tonight from Hanover just because you were having me. I watch a lot of news. But then I really think it's all really about training and how you choose to treat someone. And how you choose to treat people. You know, because I would say that it's like and you know, when a police officer stops you, it's you against them. And you just got your problem. You got going on. Or else you'll have what you have.
Right? Comment?
All right, so
Take your time. Take your time.
Take your time.
I appreciate that. I really just want to be clear, though. I want to make sure that, because I have a number of different folks that are running around. Now, I really appreciate the gentleman in the back who at least shared the first part of my comment. The question was raised whether or not we're actually really having, for lack of a better term, the right conversation now in this day and time. I personally know that there are statistics that share otherwise in the context of people who may disagree with a lot of what's been stated in terms of, well, we pretty much need to resolve all of these wonderful bias-based issues that we have as interactions between law enforcement and communities, and things are moving on the right track. Now, don't get me wrong, I acknowledge the relevance of the kid Richmond, but I do know that, as that gentleman stated, that there are citizens who are present who not only won't share that point of view, they can absolutely share their stories and be very clear about the reasons why they're uncomfortable being in this space or uncomfortable being in the space to talk because honestly, they feel that nothing will come of it. My question is really related to the process in terms of really being able to change the behaviors that have people uncomfortable. A couple of people sprinkled out this idea of implicit bias, and that's one of my areas of expertise as a trainer. I know that debiasing efforts don't happen in a day. I don't care how intense your training is for one day, they don't happen in a day. Now, if we're talking about interacting with groups of people who, through decades, someone made a comment earlier like, well, we want to deal with things about what happened 50 years ago. Well, yes, we have to deal with how we were impacted by what happened 50 years ago because those were some of the things that are driving our behavior. My simple question is this. After the day training that the officers have, how can we, when we have a spot or whatever when we have the next conversation, how can we take what you all have been exposed to in your training, however wonderful it is, and those of us as citizens who don't even have a clue what they're talking about in relationship to implicit bias, training, its impact, how it affects us, and what role and responsibility we have in terms of being able to enhance our relationships, how do we take in that information and then frame it in a way that we can have a conversation that might be able to push the needle a little further in terms of understanding how we enhance our relationships?
You want an officer to respond to that?
We have we'll be asking one right over here.
How's everybody doing today? Felicidades a los del primer recinto, que se podía speak Spanish, speak different languages. I'm very excited to be here today. I'm excited to hear these questions. And what I want to say to that is we need to do that every single day as police officers, not just in training. And I do it every single day. I work in my sector. I talk with the juveniles. I mentor several different kids from all different races. I'm a big brother for the Big Brothers program. I don't know if you've heard of that. We go to schools. We mentor the children. I love doing it. So I do it every single day. And how I show them that these trainings are working, or I'm a field training officer for the police department. So I'm also training officers in the street, and I let them know police by behavior, not gender, or race, or anything like that. So
Every single day, I'm giving everybody, 113, somebody mentioned it earlier. I'm showing them that they can trust me by talking to them every single day. I walk my sector, I take questions from people, I'm very approachable. And that's what's important. Us as the police officers patrolling that you come in contact with every day, we have to show you that you can trust us. And I'll do that every single day. I challenge everybody in here, please put my name down on a form and come to a ride on so I can show you what I do every single day in my sector, 113, that I love. I've been there 8 years. I plan on not going anywhere unless I get promoted, to God. But I love the people in that area. I don't think there's anybody that doesn't know me in my area. So like I said, we have to, us as patrolmen have to show you that you can trust us every day, no matter where you're from or what you're doing. I'm going to be there for you. So please fill out a ride application. Come ride with me. I'm going to show you what I do every day to show juveniles or any color, any race, except for Puerto Ricans. I'm going to show you how I do this on a daily basis, not just about rescuing people. Okay, there's other ways we can help, mentoring programs and so forth. Do I have any questions about that?
All right. In response to the brother in the back and the brother over here, we've had these community forums in Hillside and Southside Community Center. We've interacted both in Croydon Court and Fairfield Court, Gilpin Court. We've interacted at the police department has an open door. And to really put it real simple in response to my brother over here, we, the citizens, have to be the change that we want to see. You got to get involved with the police department if you want to see changes there. It is not just on them, it is on us as well. We got to do something ourselves instead of just, as somebody often tells me, instead of talking about it, let's be about it.
Yeah, that's right, it was. Actually, and I just want to piggyback on that. September 13th, there was the first Southside Public Safety Meeting. It happened over at Michelle Mosby's district, and we did it at the Southside Service Community Center. The entire community was invited from Hillside, Port, Northside, Easton, Weston to Richmond. And we had judges there to talk about how they prosecute. We had the Richmond City Police Department there. We had concerned citizens. But what happened with the concerned citizens being there, no one, all of these activists were doing these great things out in the community, never invited any youth to come who should have been there. All right? Any other comments? Yes, Mrs. Manager? Well, he answered that. He said, what you have to do is comply, and then you complain. Yeah. Just yes, he asked you a question, just respond to the question, and please don't break the law.
At any point in time, you can ask to speak to a supervisor, and within our policies, a supervisor will give me dispatch to that seat. Whatever that situation may be, whether it involves a restaurant. So at any point in time, you can ask to speak to a supervisor.
Okay. I want to respond to the complain. I just thought about that. I was pulled over by a police officer myself. And you're right, I haven't gotten all about it. I did call on the supervisor to come. And that supervisor came, and everything went well. But in the meantime, if you are pulled over by a police officer as a citizen, because we have the right to remain silent. We really do. The attitudes, it's inconvenient to be pulled over. Let's see a show of hands. Who likes to get pulled over by a police officer? I hate it. It is always inconvenient. I'm like, please. So if I be quiet, let my yeses be yes and my no be no, more than likely, by the grace of God, I can leave. And if there's an issue and I felt like I was violated, I'm going to file a complaint.
Into consideration
warning. Well, I don't know if you should say, is his boss here? Was he supposed to be here? He gave a ticket for real. He gave a ticket. This is all, this stage. This is stage. I'm gonna piggyback my sister over here and gentleman right here. Understand, and you, young lady, and I thank you for that. It is all about respect, but you know, at the end of the day, no one can cause me to react anyway, because I control me. So if I choose to be arrogant, disrespectful, it's a choice I made. If I choose to be polite and respectful, that's me. They're stopping, yes, I have been stopped too. I have been stopped too, and I've been involved in law enforcement for many, many years, and I've been stopped. But the first thing I did, of course you take a deep breath because the red lights were behind, but I thought, he needs to see every single thing that I do. And number one, I'm going to be respectful. Just stop him defying who I was. If I was doing something, I was going to own it. But mine was polite also, thank goodness. But I was going to own it, and I didn't know what was being told. But I had no reason to be disrespectful to him. You know, and I went along with it. So I think at the end of the day, when we think about how we can engage, think about first, hey, this is me, and nobody can control me. I control myself. So and we got one more comment, and then we're going to get back to all of the questions. Pam? You were at the safety room.
Hi, how y'all doing? My name is Pam Mines, and I was at the first safety forum in Southside Community Center. I passed a law working with the police just this past year, 2014. It's called JP's Law. And it's a law that will allow individuals who have autism or intellectual disability to voluntarily add an innocuous code to their driver's license or identification card, noting that they have this difference so that the police will know exactly how they should interact. When I first went to Senator McEachin about this bill, I personally thought that the police were not really going to want to help us out, thinking they're already dealing with so many other things that maybe they didn't want to have to deal with the fact that they would now have to look at autism or intellectual disability. We worked with Hanover County Department, Sheriff Department to get the law passed, but as soon as the City of Richmond Police Department found out about this law, before we had our good Chief Durham here, Chief Tarasovic contacted me, set up a meeting, and has now added JP's Law to their CIT training. So I say all that to say that people and police can work very well together, and ultimately they want to be able to help citizens be productive and avoid conflict that can come into place. I did this law for my son, who is 10 years old, because I wanted to do it in honor of him, not in memory of him. And because of the work that the police did with me and the senator, and it going through the General Assembly with unanimous decisions, we now have a law that will help the people and police work together. So I encourage you, whenever you can, to speak with the police, like everyone is saying, be respectful, recognize their authority, recognize that they have to honestly think that everybody is to harm them before they can say that somebody's out for good, because they have no idea what's going on when they pull people over. So, again, my law was made in honor of my son, not in memory of my son, and it was all because people and police decided to work together.
So I have two last comments, and then I'm going to get back to the final questions.
How many folks are here from the protesters? She gave me 2 minutes. Okay, great. One of the things I want to share with you all, I always recognize your voice. I don't know your name. Very active. We were trying to raise your hand from you. That's the public safety chairperson. Ms. Mosley, raise your hand for me. City Council Representative Ms. Mosley. Ms. Ellen Robinson right here. I brought those names up. I still got about a minute and a half, but the reason I brought those names up, not to recognize them for their position, but because of their enthusiasm with citizens. Those three ladies, along with others, have encouraged me to not be silent. If there's something that is going on in the community, speak out. But they also taught me to go to the right source. I said to City Council a couple of weeks ago, I'm not going to run in front of you and ask you to make me a white man. You can't do it. I am who I am. So here in Richmond, we are unique as we said before. And the reason why I asked where the protesters were, because this is a result of the things that you all did. Now, of course, it's been explained that being out in the middle of the street stopping traffic, that's not the way to do it. This is the way to do it. Going to the city council, standing up, interrupting meetings, that's not the way to do it. Actually, you're breaking the law. So how can we ask the law to help us when we break the law? We have to learn how to observe the law, understand the law, obey the law, respect the law, and become law-abiding citizens. Believe me, if anybody can tell it, I haven't always worn this necktie all the time. Grew up in Mosman Court, never seen a dad, had my challenges. I have 4 sons, and every last one of them I taught these words, and over here with this.
That's all I know.
You have the right to remain silent. If you give up your right to remain silent, anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. Then I told him even something else more important. I said, you have a right to attorney. And if that ain't afford it, the government can pay for it. However, but if you break the laws and you run your mouth, I'll return when you don't supposed to, run in your mouth, then I can't help you. So, citizens, I got you. I know I got 5 seconds. I've been watching the clock. I got 5 seconds. So I say that in conclusion, but we haven't always been on the right side. But let's get on the right side.
This is great. Give us a round of applause. Look, I want to get another. All right, I want to get another compliment. The lead, the Greater Richmond.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Victor Rogers. I'm the current president of the National Urban League Young Professionals. I took a couple of notes. The one thing I wanted to discuss was the first safety forum that was held in September. I was there, so when the comment was made that the youth wasn't there, that's not true, because I represent the age demographic 21 to 40-year-olds. And to that point, when I was there, I'm going to do what I did there, I'm going to do it now. Could everybody underneath the age of 40 please stand? We are here. So when you say we're not here, that's a very, the term folks off. So with that, I'd like to shout everybody out here. Moving forward with that, though, one thing I do want to bring to people's attention, I learned at that forum to engage in the Citizens Police Academy. I am a graduate of the 18th Citizen Police Academy, and I can honestly tell you what I learned in the Citizens Police Academy makes me feel a lot more safe and aware of what's going on out here in Richmond. I'm not from Richmond. I identify with Killeen, Texas. Everybody know me, I'm from Texas, right? So I took it upon myself to understand and engage with the police. So anybody here, in particular the individuals who put this program on, shout out to Black Lives Matter. I love y'all, keep doing y'all thing. Join the 19th Citizens Police Academy. Donald Cook is the person that you need to address, and it's going to start in April. Furthermore, as I conclude, one thing that I do want to bring to people's attention, it's cool to do all this, and all that is fine. I support it. You know, I did let walking down the hill today. We were talking to legislators. But one thing I want to bring to everybody's attention is this. Bob McCullough, listen to what I'm saying, Bob McCullough, he's the district attorney in St. Louis, right? He ran unopposed. 96% of the people voted for him, right? He's the reason why Michael Brown's Darren Woodson got on, right? The only way we're really going to address a lot of this stuff is if we vote, we're aware of what we're voting for, and then we're working with the community. And as I conclude, you know, I don't have any issues with the police, and you shouldn't have any issues with the police. You should figure out how to work with the police to ensure that you're safe. Thank you.
Give yourselves a round of applause. I want you to do that. Okay, we talked about the first community conversation. We're doing it here at the Richmond Police Academy. Well, we're going to have 4 conversations, and we're going to try to basically visit all 9 districts in the city of Richmond. Would you like that? borough. We want to get better. We're doing great in the city of Richmond, but we want to do better, and we're going to need the community to get that done. Are you with us, community? You like you believe something? You want to say something? Okay, you got 60 seconds.
Just real quick, I just want to say thank you to everyone coming out and being professional, and I love the love that we're getting. We watch TV and it doesn't happen, so it actually makes me get choked up. Another thing, be the change you want to see in the world. We have applications. If you think you can do a better job than what we're doing, because you might, sign up. Perez trained me, Rogers trained me, Klein trained me. I want to be the change that I see in the world. I did not like the police growing up. When I saw the police, it was a bad deal. That's how I was raised. I didn't want to work for a cop, but it ended up being the most blessed thing that happened in my life. And I became the police officer that I wanted to see. Okay? You can do the same thing. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Again, I thank you so much for coming out and being a part of this great community conversation. Give yourselves a round of applause, because I understand that we need each other. We can't do anything without each other. As long as we know that, we can build a stronger community. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to reintroduce to you our brand new Richmond City Police Chief, Chief Al Durham.
Before I close out, my mom always told me, never miss out on an opportunity. So this was being said.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Antoinette Archer, and I am the HR Division Chief for the Richmond City Police Department. I am a civilian, and I live in the city of Richmond. I, too, did not like police when I was asked to come over to work in the police department back in 2004. But I realized I didn't like the police, not because of anything that had occurred to me, but because of the things that I saw in the media. I grew up in the Rodney King era. I know I'm aging myself, but that's the era I grew up in. So I was really, really disappointed and disheartened about what I felt or what I perceived or what the media showed me that police were doing to African Americans. I transferred over because I really didn't have a choice if I didn't want to keep my job. And what I realized is that they are human. Police officers are human just like everyone else. And if you speak to them with respect, then you will absolutely get respect. In my role as the HR chief, I oversee every hire that comes into the department. I also get the awesome responsibility of reviewing anyone who's going to be terminated from the department. It is not an easy task on either end. But I segue into this because what Rod Elmini is saying is absolutely true. If you don't want to be a part of that problem, be a part of the solution, we are hiring all the time. I have 2 academy classes in right now, and my last class that we brought in about a month ago, 51% of those individuals are minorities. Because what we are striving to do is to ensure What we're striving to do is ensure that our department reflects the community. We're not there yet. I can't say we'll ever get there, but I can tell you that my team and I, we work diligently every single year, every single day to make sure that we are a reflection of our community. Because what happened in Ferguson and what happened in New York, nobody wants to hear, whether you're white or black or female or male. So I encourage you all to go online to www.richmond.gov.com and apply for a police recruit position. If you're not interested in being a police officer, I have plenty of civilian positions where you can come in and support the officers who do the work. Because I tell